Welcome to our exploration of the Renaissance, a pivotal era of rebirth and transformation. In this video, we'll journey through the revival of classical knowledge, the rise of humanism, the impact of socio-economic structures, and the profound influence of material culture. From Italy's merchant cities to the role of art and innovation, discover how this remarkable period reshaped society and continues to inspire today. What was the Renaissance? Traditionally, Renaissance means rebirth and refers to the rebirth of the knowledge, culture, politics, and practices of classical antiquity at the end of the Middle Ages. The concept of the small Renaissance focuses on the emergence of humanism and art in Italy among an exclusive learned elite. The concept of a medium Renaissance expands the idea of the Renaissance to include political and cultural changes among wider groups. Finally, the concept of a large Renaissance attempts to capture the socio-economic experiences of the entire society, including peasants and servants who, some have argued, did not really have a Renaissance. These concepts introduce some key questions for our course. What was the Renaissance? Where was the Renaissance? When was the Renaissance? Did everyone, including women and lower-class people, have a Renaissance? Why was the Renaissance significant? We will think about these questions throughout our course, analyzing multiple Renaissance perspectives in order to get the real story of the Renaissance. Another way to think about the Renaissance was that it was the intellectual movement of new commercial societies. It started in Italy, a region that was fragmented into independent city-states, many of which were governed by merchants who profited from the expansion of trade routes and commerce. These merchants wanted to use the ideas of classical antiquity to reform and improve their own societies. They viewed man as a noble agent in the world, in contrast to the previously dominant Christian theology that focused on man's innate sinfulness. While the merchants drove commercial changes, governed cities, and patronized art, many other individuals, including artists and architects, writers, philosophers, and craftsmen, provided the sparks of genius that made the period one of the most innovative in history. Finally, keep in mind that the achievements of the Renaissance, including the newfound wealth of the merchant republics, depended on the labor of a much larger underclass of peasants, workers, servants, and slaves. These individuals represented the vast majority of human experience during the Renaissance. When you hear the term Renaissance, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Most likely, it's a painting like the Mona Lisa or sculpture like David, famous objects that continue to capture our imaginations. Paula Finland's article helps us to understand that the process of creating the Renaissance, PL 113, started in the Renaissance with the veneration and collection of material objects. She argues that this process continues to define our own relationship to the Renaissance. As we study the Renaissance and create digital museum exhibits in this class, a term we will want to define and use is material culture, which describes the objects produced by human beings, including buildings, structures, monuments, tools, weapons, utensils, furniture, art, and indeed any physical item created by a society. As such, material culture is the main source of information about the past from which archaeologists can make inferences. A distinction is often made between those aspects of culture that appear as physical objects and those aspects that are non-material. Concise Oxford. Dictionary of Archaeology. The essay called Living in a Material World presents the views of current scholars on the importance of material culture for analyzing the past. Be prepared to paraphrase your own definition of what material culture is and why it is useful for examining the Renaissance. In order to get a sense of what Renaissance collecting was, please take a look at Cabinets of Curiosity. Throughout the course, we are especially interested in three major questions. 1. What made Renaissance societies innovative? 2. What power structures existed, and how did people use or experience power? 3. How did material culture shape Renaissance lives, as well as modern interpretations of the Renaissance? I advise you to keep asking yourselves these questions to help guide your reading. In our journey through the Renaissance, we've explored its essence as a rebirth of classical antiquity's riches, spanning culture, politics, and humanism. From Italy's merchant-led cities fostering innovation to the pivotal role of underclasses and the vibrancy of material culture, we've seen how the Renaissance shaped society. This period was marked by a questioning of inclusivity, challenging us to consider whose Renaissance it truly was. Through art, intellectual pursuits, and societal transformation, the Renaissance continues to influence our understanding of history, culture, and human potential.